Okay, we haven't got the Raven with us, so that's even better. This is going to be much, much shorter. So, here we go. I didn't say fire in the hole, did I? Doesn't matter. No. Okay. Well, at least we've actually got rid of the Raven, which is a good one. Yay!
Woohoo! Yeah!
Right.
Raven, that means short dog.
Preserving our Indigenous identity and culture. This is a special, part 5, and this is about the English language. And we have on the program Stats, and say hello, Stats.
Hello, Stats.
And we have the wonderful, the nimble Gazelle, a.k.a. Trevor Nichols. Say hello.
Hey, you're not so bad yourself.
Ooh. It's better than the podcast from where Steve was staying, and we heard the board on his bed banging. Oh, gosh. No more said about
that.
Or bad, whatever. Right, okay. As I said, preserving our Indigenous identity and culture, part 5, the English language. And we want to talk about the positive aspects about the English language. Now, how is it under attack? And how can we preserve the English language? And a quick intro to this is the English language has undergone various transformations throughout history due to cultural, social, and technological shifts. In recent years, however, concerns have emerged about the perceived erosion of English as a result of demographic changes, shifting meanings of words, well, we know about that one, and alterations in literature for the sake of diversity. That's the ones we don't like. This article that we're going to do tonight, we aim to look, in a very brief way, at these concerns and explore the broader context surrounding the state of the English language today. Stats, take it away.
Yeah, I'm not keen on the way it's shifting, to be honest. We've got an amazing language. It's a bit of a mixture of all kinds of things, isn't it? French, Latin, Germanic languages and stuff. But it's a universal language, the language of the internet, high tech. It's given us some of the best poets, hasn't it? Authors and singers.
Yeah.
You've got to admit, our language is probably the best for all that. And we have words for the meaning, because they have meanings, words, don't they? And we use that's the reason for them. And grammar also helps us understand these words and sentences. And I just think changing this for ideological reasons is going down a dangerous path, isn't it, mate? Yeah, very dangerous.
Well, I do like Italian for opera because it has great expression. I do like German for German Lieder in songs. I'm talking about mainly classical songs. Schumann and people like that. I do like French because I just think it's a very lyrical language. À bon vivant.
No, it's still the best, though.
Bonsoir, mesdames et messieurs.
The problem with our language, though, John, is ours can be corrupted, can't it?
It is
very easily.
It is. Right, but it's we're talking about diversity and integration. It's true that a small percentage of the UK population may not speak English fluently. What? That's a bit of an understatement, isn't it? However, it's important to approach the issue with nuance. Globalization and immigration have contributed to the linguistic diversity of modern societies. Has it?
Not in a good way, no.
No. Creating multicultural environments where multiple languages coexist. Because there's quite a lot of French in the English language, especially in law. Taught.
It's about 30%, I think.
Taught. It was originally called Global Lingua Franca. So you have, words like taught, argument, mortgage, which is
surrender,
debt grip. No, those are the white flags. Except for the French Foreign Legion, they're toughies. They are toughies. We need those over here. So it's essential for individuals to learn the dominant language of the host country for effective integration. Now, that's a problem because there is a section of the population that will not learn it. And they are mostly from old school Muslims. Go ahead, Mark.
You should pinch the words out of my mouth. It's not healthy for community cohesion, is it? Hence why I think it's probably one of the reasons that their multicultural dreams failed.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to adopt to the host culture to keep the country going.
Yep.
And seeing as we've got the best country, I'm not going to say that, then isn't it counterproductive? Now, the problem as well is...
Wait a minute. When you say the best country, are you talking about England?
Yes, I am. Well, we're here to
what about
Britain?
Britain?
It's not a country, is it?
Great Britain and Northern Ireland.
Preserving our indigenous identity.
I see. He moves away from that one, Trevor.
Ethnically English, and the English language has come from England, so I'll carry on anyway. But
Point made. Point made.
Get this, though. On top of the cost of all this translation, right, here's a fact for you. People who struggle... No, we'll get to that in a minute. People who struggle to understand our language are more likely to be in poor health, and this comes from ONS data. So wouldn't it be better to get everyone to integrate and use our language than spending millions on letting them speak their own? Mm-hmm. None of this makes any sense. It's costing us money, and it's making people, well, not as healthy.
Yeah, okay.
It doesn't make any sense. Again, morons in charge, so what do you expect?
Quickly yield to the Gazelle, please, sir. Go ahead, Yale.
Yeah, exactly.
Go on, Gaz.
Now, it won't be long before it all reverses back to Hebrew. Now,
it's going to happen.
What are you laughing at? Right. Now,
or maybe Latin.
As a plus, I hope it happens soon, because it costs, and we're going back to cost again there, Stats, actually. Mm-hmm. It costs our council a fortune in leaflets. I only went to pick some keys up for a garage.
How many languages were on there?
There was 27 different leaflets in different languages. How much is that costing? So the sooner we all go back to Hebrew, the better.
Just remind them when they deliver these leaflets that they're actually encouraging and paying for poor health.
Okay,
makes sense.
Let's go. Evolving meanings and ideological shifts. I'll explain. Because language is such a dynamic system, constantly evolving to reflect changes in society, over time, words and their meanings can shift. And prime examples are gay and pride. Now, gay used to be used quite often. It was used by a lot of the greatest poets. Gay, abandon. And when you mentioned pride, you took pride in your work. Now, what do we get? It's LGBTQ plus alphabet crew and mafia all screwed in when they start appropriating these words. And as far as I'm concerned, I don't think the phenomenon is unique to the English language, but it's an inherent characteristic of language evolution. And I argue that these changes are driven by ideological motivation, leading to the modification of the language to suit specific views. And as far as I'm concerned, the answer is no. Go ahead, Mark.
I would have said the change in the meaning of words to suit ideological morons, but yeah, I'll give you that one. Well, he's a cultural Marxist again, isn't it? When we look at it, woman, it's quite obvious what it means, an adult human female.
But should we ignore that language does evolve and change?
Depends if it's going to evolve in a positive way, then great. But when you've got someone like the Cambridge Dictionary adding an extra thing, an adult who lives and identifies as a female, though they may have been said to have had a different sex at birth. Sorry, what?
Yeah.
So this is a dictionary for meanings of words, and you're just going to put some utter tripe that's got no basis in reality. Yeah, fantastic.
Oh.
Nice one. I've still got all the old dictionaries when I was in school.
Yeah.
You know what I've noticed, though? I checked a few months ago, and quite a few of them had this meaning, this extra meaning. Now I've only found the one this week, which is very strange.
Ooh.
So maybe it's sorting itself out.
Okay. All right.
I believe that when I see it. But yeah, and you've got other words like gender. I've got the dictionary from 1992, and it means sexes, male and female.
Correct.
Not anymore.
Go on any government website and it says the same. I will yield to the Gazelle. I've been watching those congressional hearings with all those senators. I love the way that they talk when they turn around and they say, I will give way. I will yield to the gentlewoman. They say gentlewoman and they say gentleman and gentlewoman.
Let the gentlewoman speak.
So there's only two sexes in the Senate. Male and female, and yet he'll have the pride flags out everywhere in Washington. Idiot. Go ahead, Gaz.
And I just want to clarify that I am the Gazelle and not the Gazelle-ette. Okay. Now, as you just said earlier on, over time meanings can shift and they can evolve. Well, I just want to add to that these particular meanings have not been, they've not evolved. They've been hijacked.
Yes, in certain cases, yeah.
Spot on.
They've been hijacked.
Yep, I agree.
And the sooner we say, no, stop it, and we go back to where we were.
Correct.
And it's nothing to do with age. It's nothing to do with... stop it. It's getting ridiculous. It's out of hand. And we need to revert it back to Hebrew.
But but don't you think that we should actually, there should be greater diversity and representation in literature in order for certain things to happen? Or do you think it just should be kept virgin in the way that it was?
No, I'm totally for progression. But we're not progressing, are we? We're actually regressing.
Okay. It also brings in the way that literature is now being changed. And I'll give way to Stan. Go ahead, Stan.
That's funny because that's exactly what I was going to say.
I'm sorry, sir.
I mean, they've been getting rid of people like Larkin and Owen and Keats and Hardy, poets, and swapping them for, well, you guessed it, disabled, black and LGBT, whatever the hell that means again.
Yeah.
I think we need to
it's altering history.
De-diversify. I've just made up a new word. And while we're on the meaning of changing words, I'm going to change left wing in the dictionary, and underneath it's going to say hypocritical, lying cowards.
Correct.
Anyone can do that, you know what I mean?
Don't forget nutters and nutters.
Oh, hang on, let me write that one down. Nutters.
Yeah.
Look, insane, that's what we're going. All right, yeah, so we've changed that one.
And if any of you out there, no, we do not respect your views because we think that you're actually destroying the country. But anyway,
your views are dog water. Look, what they're doing is they're making children culturally illiterate.
Yeah.
That's what's happening. And it's our history.
Yeah.
This is why it's all under attack. And Trevor's right. It's literally being hijacked. It's not changing.
On top of that, I mean, on about the literature there, Jonathan, is that, you've got the changing of these children's books as well.
Yeah. I mean, where did they come from?
This is, this has got to be reversed.
Well, they've done it. Some of the big publishers have done it with Roald Dahl.
Roald Dahl, yeah.
I believe.
Everything's got trigger warnings now, hasn't it, for the snowflakes?
Yeah.
Now, another one of my big gripes is grammar. It's literally being mutilated, isn't it? Again, to suit ideological morons.
Yeah.
So pronouns, well, people don't use them to describe themselves. Other people use them to describe other people, what they see.
What about Trevor with muchy instead of mushy peas?
Yeah.
Soup instead of coop.
Yeah, I totally agree with Stats as well, because if anybody upsets my grandma, they're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, defo.
And my granddad.
Like, for instance, you can't call a singular a plural, can you? It's not they. It's he or she. Sorry, but this can't go on because, as I said, I think on the other podcast, if every day someone can identify as something different and words have different meanings on different days, what kind of mess is this? We're going to understand what's going on at all from one day to the other.
Well, wow. And also from one bubble to another.
Hang on.
All right, you're in. Go ahead.
I've just had another flash of light. The Virgin's just sat on my wall again, right? Now, I can identify...
It's a good job you're not a Catholic. You would be excommunicated now. I'm telling you now. Don't go past the Catholic church or in one because the font will bubble. I'm telling you.
It will bubble, I'll tell you. Yeah, we're back to Dancing Chris again there. Now, this Virgin Mary has just come down to me and said I can, if I wish... It's my choice. She just said to me, now it was only about 4 minutes ago, I can identify as a bottle of Peroni.
Why not?
Well, I'll go with that.
You can go and sit on the wall with, with the moon.
Indeed, but I do not think that you've got the actual figure for a bottle of Peroni. I think if you identified as a pair.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter because I can identify having the figure of a bottle of Peroni.
All right, okay. Or Mr. Potato Head.
24.
Because Mary she's actually sat here outside the wall now, and she just nodded, and she said, just say, tell him this.
We're not the Flab 4 anymore, is what I was doing now. We are the Flab 3 plus one Skinny Mini.
Yeah.
All right, Skinny, go ahead.
I remember you in your introduction, you mentioned technology, didn't you?
Yeah.
Now, I know we're the international language on the internet, but what's happening also now is you've got programs that are allowing people to communicate in their own languages.
Yeah.
So it might not be the universal language for much longer.
Well,
it's under attack again, isn't it? Like the church, like the constitution, like educate from all different angles. I mean, just things like the little things like this get me. Like when people call the word sick. Now, it can mean good and bad.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's good for words to have different meanings, but not the meanings that are the opposite.
Well,
one's negative and one's positive. That can get really confusing in the future, especially for young children.
Therein lies some of the problems, especially. I mean, technology is coming in now so that you could actually, you're speaking and it waits for the sentences and AI converts it into the language being received. Now, but the only problem is that without seeing somebody's face, you cannot tell how that is actually being delivered. That's why interpreters are very, very important. Having a human there to actually get the message across and interpret the language that is being spoken and then relaying it to the other side. Go ahead, Mark.
It's not always very good. If you use something like Google Translate, now what sometimes it does is just translates your words in English to, I don't know, say for instance,
literally.
Spanish.
Yeah, literally.
But as I know, I've lived in another country and spoken a bit of the language. That's not always how it's said in said language. So you can do this, and the people still don't really know what you're talking about. We'll kind of guess, but you know.
So when you were in Holland, you knew the words, in Dutch. How much?
Hoeveel? Yeah.
See, he did it straight away. Right. So
I mean, I get a bit confused as you do. I struggle with English language.
We struggle to listen to your version of the English language as well.
Look, GPs and
going to milk.
I'm like you say, muchy peas and coops and soups. But what got me was this sick and sick, because me being of the older generation, when I was sick, I was not well.
You mean SICK instead of sick, as in SIC?
Is it?
I think they do that when you spell something wrong, don't they?
Yes.
No, I just thought the spat.
It's an indication. It's an indication.
Because my local MP
is sick.
That's Charlotte. She'll say, right, I've just been to see a band and they were sick. Now,
yeah, that means
they wouldn't have been there, would they, if they were sick?
In America, they'll use. In America, hold on a second. In America, they'll use things to describe something as good as saying that's dope. No, that's dope, or it used to be, jeez, that's bad. That is so bad.
I don't mind, John, when the word means something different than like the opposite. When it means a negative and a positive, it's going to start getting really confusing, especially if all the words are doing that on different days of the week.
It crept into the English language because sometimes when people make a mistake here, they turn around and say, oh, that's my bad.
No, that's come from America, though, John.
I know. I said it's crept over. That's what I said.
Sorry.
You weren't listening.
But I mean,
what are those big headphones on your head? Have you got ears?
Yeah, they're big, look.
If you're sick, you're not well. So how can you be sick if you're good? But anyway, and going back to this language thing that we're going to get Universal taking it away from my suggestion of Hebrew, somebody was telling me just recently that we're all going to be speaking Mandarin soon. Is it Mandarin? And that for me is an orange. I've never heard an orange speak.
No, it's going to be quiet, isn't it?
Yeah, so they said we're all...
There is a guy on YouTube called The Orange, the annoying orange.
Yeah, I've seen that. That is annoying, isn't it?
It is.
Is it? I'll check that later. But what's this Mandarin? It's Chinese, apparently.
There's different dialects and different parts of China, and they speak different languages.
Well, I'll tell you what. There's loads of dialects. I've seen it on BBC One.
Yeah, they're in Parliament as well. Make them unhappy.
Hey, you sound like the leader of Reform UK there.
Our policy is to suppress the people. We will make them unhappy. Go ahead,
3 trillion, have it.
I know we're having a laugh, but at some point we're going to have to look at how we're going to preserve our language.
I was about to say, how do you preserve it? How do we actually protect it? I mean, in conclusion, we know. I'm talking about in conclusion of that part. We know that language is subject to change and adaptation, influenced by societal, cultural, and ideological shifts, but we disagree with what's going on. So how do we preserve its stats? How do we keep it?
Firstly, to deal with the issue of people not speaking our language, I think we make speaking English a requirement upon entering the country. I think only that way will you have total cohesion and people are going to come here and be part of our culture.
Yeah,
I think it is. Sorry, Matt. I think it is legally, but these people are entering illegally, aren't they?
Yeah. But we're not helping by letting them all, translate everything for them. I think schools, big part to play. More emphasis on spelling and grammar rather than all this online stuff and ticking multiple choice answers on tests. I'm sorry, but I know it gives teachers less work, but it's not benefiting the children.
Agreed.
I think we need to teach the children how our language is developed, like we've been saying, and how important it is for us to use correct words with the correct meanings so people understand what the hell's going on.
Good social intercourse.
Yeah.
And that's it. Those are in the proper meaning of the word intercourse, okay, which can have dual meanings. But we're talking social intercourse, whereby they learn the meanings of words when they're actually talking with adults, and when they say, "What does that mean?" And then the adult then turns around and says, "It's about this," and then the child will then learn to use that word in the language when they're actually speaking to people. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think everyone must now refuse to muller our language and grammar to save the feelings of these ideological morons.
Yeah, it's got to end.
I think it's it. Don't encourage them. I mean, I can hear people using the word cis and that they're using the language of the left, and they're already going to win because they're good at this.
Yeah.
And as I said before, I'm going to make a new word up: de-diversify, diversity.
Get rid of diversity officers or full stop.
I'm not very good at making these words up, but yeah, I'd say just go back to how the curriculum used to be and reinstate the English poets and the authors and it's our history.
So your first point is to promote the language education. Yep.
Definitely, yeah.
Okay. The next point that you're making is to cultivate reading and writing skills.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. I get that. And you are actually coming across to me as saying that you want to emphasize the language standards.
Correct.
Okay. Well,
and then finally, again, we discuss this all the time. It'll continue as long as we've got weak leadership.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's the root of all evils in this country, isn't it?
It is. Somebody that's
Sadly.
not willing to stand up and be counted. And we do agree that there should be language immersion, meaning the people who are coming into the country legally should actually learn the language, and they should be made to learn the language.
Yeah, and then the ones who are found illegally need to be removed.
Correct, and get rid of them.
Yeah.
And
so for that, we need a change of government and voting system.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Again, weak leadership again, isn't it? You see.
Well, we don't agree with your policy of bringing Hebrew back. We're going to let that one go. That isn't going to. I mean, even I'd be sitting back. The only couple of words that I would say is, if we were going to use Latin as the base language, is tempus fugit, which means time flies. So what I want to say to you is that we need to embrace technology, but technology isn't going to be the answer. We need to encourage the language use in public spaces and promote the use of English. We need to foster cultural exchange, encouraging cultural exchange programs, international collaborations, because the more people that do come over here, we force them to learn English, because you know that universities actually do put on English lessons for Chinese students. They do it. We've seen it. Okay?
Might put a few people off coming as well,
Well, that would be even better, in certain cases. So it's an ongoing process. We all are in favor of preserving the English language as we know it, as it was, but we also have to nuance that with certain things that we have to realize about what's going on in society now. And I think... Go on.
If I may just add an observation. When I was over in Greece, it's still very, very popular. They have, I saw in roads alone, 3, just caught my eye, 3 facilities that were teaching English.
Yep.
That surprised me. And also, when I was out and about on all my travels, I could have, a Swedish person, a Norwegian person, talking to a Greek person, and they all used their common language.
Which is English.
To communicate. I found it fascinating. You'll have, a Swedish person talking to a Greek person who couldn't speak either other's languages, but they all communicated in English.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah. I get it. Well, I have to say...
And I did say to him, actually, are you all right? And they couldn't understand me.
No, but... You're right. Yeah, from Wigan.
You're all right, bird. Do you want one of them?
No, John Brady.
A Wigan kebab, 3 meat pies. And she went, don't know what you're on about. And they all started speaking in foreign languages.
Wigan pie. Oh, that's great.
Never mind translators for foreign languages. I think we need one for all our own dialects, don't we? One for the Geordies.
Especially Glaswegians.
Glaswegians.
2 pounds of lager and a packet of cheese and crisps. All right. Indeed.
Funny, I'll tell you what, I know we're missing the Raven. We really are tonight.
No, we're not.
Oh, we're not. No, sorry, I'll take that back. Right. But it's funny how he can always speak sheep. I'm amazed at that.
Quite right. Well, I have to say, Stats, man, you were bad. Gazelle, you were dope. Okay?
I'll tell you
You were
what.
sick, bro.
You were sick.
Me, I was
what.
sick. You know?
Yeah.
Simple
Dan,
as
when I
that.
said society was sick, I've confused everyone now, haven't I? Okay, society's a little poorly sick.
Indeed. Well, I think that's a wonderful podcast going through those different things very, very quickly. And I'm sorry, Raven. I'm sorry you were a robot. I'm not sorry you're in Wales. Bye. Bye. Do you think we're being too hard on him? No, I don't think so. Say goodnight, Stats.
I'll say goodbye and farewell. See you all soon.
All right, okay. Say good night, Gazelle.
Good night, everybody, and thank you so much for listening, as always, and we really, really, really do appreciate it.
Okay, now can you do that in Hebrew?
I said support.
And
Internet.
and in the words of Peter Griffin, who is now an Uber driver.
Maybe we're safe because our language is popping up in foreign languages when they're talking about stuff and they'll just go like, blah, 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 internet. So maybe we're wrong here.
That's what it's like with those women in Neston. You know, no, if I was a tourist, I would go, oh yeah, take pick. Because that's what they do. They say those things and then they add a little bit of English onto it. Have you ever noticed with some of those foreign programs, they'll say things and then all of a sudden an English word will pop out and you go, eh?
Yeah. Don't you have
that?
foreign words for like Google and internet and stuff like that now?
Oh yeah. They do that in Wales as well.
I was watching a German video once, and that. Oh no, hang on, no.
No more detail. Thank you.